Hello Year 4 on Monday the 11th of January 2021. This is Maths with Mr. Bowes and we will be doing addition. Before we get started, I thought I'd just remind you, sort of thing that we would do if we were in class. Okay, have a little look around and remember what we know. So if we're doing addition, we need to remember that we've done addition before, and we know that if we're going to do addition, we might use a number line to jump along, and we might also use expanded or compact addition in columns. So that's the blue one there and the green one there, showing what we've done with addition before. So today we're going to be adding two 3-digit numbers together, and we're going to be doing some puzzles in that as well. So first of all, I just want to show you a little animation. So you're actually going to watch how this happens. You'll notice that the animation is quite colourful. So here we have the same addition sum, 674 add 87, and we're going to show it in two different ways. On the left-hand side, we're going to partition each number. And on the right-hand side, we're going to use the compact method, making sure we stay within our columns for ones, tens, and hundreds, so we get the place value right. So, first thing to do is to partition the number, if we're partitioning it, otherwise this number stays the same. We're going to add up the 4 and the 7. 4 and 7 is 11. Compact method, obviously, the 1, which represents tens, goes into the next column. You have to exchange. Adding up the second column, the tens. Here we've got 7, add 8, plus the 1 we carried makes 16. So 6 and we carry again, or exchange the 1 into the hundreds column. Slightly different on the expanded method, we're putting the total for each column underneath it. So 4 and 7 is 11, 70 and 80 is 150. You'll notice though in these answers they've got different colours, because this 1 is representing a 10 and this 1 here is representing 100. Let's carry on. Finally, we're adding the last column up. So we've got 700 and 61, and if we add these three numbers together here, the 600, the 150 and the 11, we will get the same one, 761. Just like that. So that's what you need to be doing today to answer the questions, to get the correct answer. You're going to have to work carefully, you're going to have to work methodically. Okay, so I don't want any silly mistakes, which does happen when people think, yeah, I know this, I can do this. They whiz through and they find they've got some wrong just because of slightly careless mistakes. So I will show one myself. Before that though, I'd like you to mark your work from Friday. So starting at the top, we have the spicy. Moving on, we have spicier, and finally spiciest. You should have written the question numbers down as I asked you to, in which case you can see which answers are which and the explanations as well. So pause the video now and mark your work. Very good. Okay, so if we are doing our own, flip this. Addition of 3-digit numbers. Let's take an example of 743. Add 275. When you look at that, you should see straight away that there is one exchange. We talked about exchanging last week as well when we were doing addition and subtraction. Is the exchange going to be in the hundreds, the tens, or the ones column? What do you think? Yep, it's the tens column. So if I look in the tens column, I can see that the 7 and the 4, which are both tens, are going to add up to more than 9. So there's going to be an exchange. Let's write this out so we can add it in the column method. 743 plus 275 equals 8. This is going to be 11, so 1 down. Now I carry 1 up here. You might have noticed on the other model that they just showed on the computer, they did the extra 1 down here, but we don't do that, so it tends to be less space, so we tend to carry it on top. Doesn't matter where you put it, as long as you remember it's there. And then 7, 8, 9, 10. So I've actually got 1 to carry here as well. So I'm ending up with 1018. So I've actually had 2 columns where we had to carry in the end, because in my hundreds column here, I had a 1, a 7, and a 2. And that works out the same if you do the expanded method of 743, 270, and 5. Exactly the same number. 5 and 3 is 8. 70 and 40 is 110. 700 and 200 is 900. I then have to add these 3 together. So 900 and 110 is going to make 1010. Add 8 is 1018. 2 methods, same way. That's what you're going to need to be doing today, carefully and accurately, so that you get all your answers right. If at any point you're struggling or you're confused with the work that you're doing, do pause the video from the questions page and go back and look at the modelling that I've just done, so that you can see how to add successfully. Okay, got 1 set of questions here for you all to do. If you're feeling spicy, I want you to do the ones in the green outline here, in the green outline. If you are feeling spicier, you can do the ones in the blue. Even if you are feeling like the spiciest, you can do the ones in the blue. So basically everybody does question 17. It's in the blue and in the green circles. If you're spicy, you're going to start with question 1. If you're feeling spicier, start with question 7 and go all the way through to 17. Okay. You need to lay the work out in your books. You need to put the question numbers down, write it out formally, and put your answer at the end. Notice question 17 says find different ways of making this calculation correct. So there's not one way of doing it. There are many different ways of doing it. Could you find a few ways to make that calculation correct? Read it out to begin with. Something hundreds and 58 plus 100 and something and 6 equals something hundreds and 24. So it's like a missing numbers puzzle, which we did last week. I could write it out. I've got, hang on, let me just get rid of that and get a pen up. I've got 58. I've got 100 something and 6. And I know the answer is something 2 and 4. So I've got some missing parts of the puzzle. That's missing, and that is missing. So that's how I would approach that sum. I know that if I'm adding 8 and 4 in the ones column here, that I would need to carry. So already I know there's going to be something carried up here, and that's going to help me do this. Also, I think there's going to be another carry or an exchange into the hundreds column. There's different ways of doing it though, so good luck with that. When you're finished and you fancy some more, if you fancy some more, you may have a go at this. This is the spiciest task. It's called cats and dogs. We are told each letter represents a digit from 0 to 9. Each letter represents a digit from 0 to 9. So it's like a code, for example. We don't know what the letters represent, but we know they're digits from 0 to 9. So the C might be the 1, the A might be the 2. We've got to figure that out by looking at the sum. We are told already that the O for dog, the O here, is 0. And the O here in the answer is also a 0. So we are told that O equals 0. Or perhaps I'll write 0. Now you've got to work out what the other digits represent. Make a list of the letters so that you can match each of them. So what might these two, T and G, what might they be if they add up to W, and what might W be? It's quite a puzzle. Pause the video and have a little go. Now, here is a hint. If you're having trouble, let the video play on and get the hint. Okay, think about whether T and G must add to more or less than 10. Think about whether T and G must add to more or less than 10. And think about C and D that must add more or less than 10. So T and G, C and D. So if I look at T and G here, does it add to more or less than 10? Well, the clue is in the tens column, because we're told that the O is 0. And if I've got something added to 0 equals 0, that can't be correct, because that something is more than 1. So if T and G equals something, it must be more than 10, because we need a carry or an exchange. So there is a 1 up here above the tens column. So we can now say that the 1 add A is equal to 10, and that's why you've got a 0 in the answer here, and we carry 1 there. That's a big clue. All right, good luck with that. Tomorrow, Tuesday, we'll mark the work, and I will see you again soon. Well done.